When I came to the doctor, he was very surprised. He said he never saw such a fast recovery. Before almost 4 years, I fell from my bike and I broken my hip joint, and they replaced it in a surgery. So from the first moment that I fall, I came immediately to my breathing. And although it was quite painful, I could control the pain. It took me all day long to understand that something is broken there. So I hope that I can heal myself, because I didn't imagine that I broke something. And when I came to the hospital and they took me to the surgery room, I did all the time breath holding and shallow breathing. And after I got out from surgery, I asked the nurse to bring me tape to tape my mouth even if I sleep. After, I think, less than 24 hours, I didn't took anymore the painkiller because I felt that I don't need it. When I came home and started the recovery, I did all the things that I know from my yoga. I'm a yoga teacher. So I slowly start moving, strengthen my muscles, and all the time I use the Buteyko Method. And after, I think, less than a month, I could walk. I use a stick in the beginning, but after, I think, 3 months, I came back to myself totally and no pain. And when I came to the doctor, after a while, he was very surprised. He said that he never saw such a fast recovery. And maybe after half a year or more, I came again to him and he asked me if I can do some poses like sitting in cross legs and so on. And he took a photo and he said that he must bring it to his, I don't know, forum or something like this to show how can someone recover from such a surgery and a broken hip. I know exactly for sure that without the method, I don't know, maybe I will still suffer from some kind of pain. 13 years before I broken my knee, they didn't change it. It was quite serious injury, but I asked them not to operate. I didn't know the method. I recover quite well, but every winter I suffer from pains. And after I started practicing Buteyko for more than 10 years now, the last years, I'm not suffer at all from my knee. No pain.
So your knee's completely better?
I don't know. I didn't focus on the knee when I practice, but it somehow it recovered totally. And if in the beginning when I felt pain, I practiced with movement of the knee, but the last years I don't have to do anything. I just notice every winter that I don't feel any pain when all the students are telling me about the pain of the cold in the joints. I remember that I don't suffer anymore. So I'm very thankful.
I sliced a bit of toe off last week on the bottom of a swimming pool. And I didn't pay too much attention to it for 24 hours. And then I took the plaster off and cleaned it up again. And there was buckets of blood coming out.
Oh, wow.
and it was quite painful. So I sealed it up again, cleaned it up, and got it under control. And then it was quite painful, so I did a few pauses, and I haven't had any pain since.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I've heard of other people going through the same process you've been through, Liora. I've got a student who's 80 years old who fell and cracked her hip, and she didn't go to the hospital for 3 days. She didn't think she'd broken anything because of her practice. And then again, she recovered very quickly, was home within a few days at 80.
Gosh, that's great. Okay, shall I tell you my story?
Yes, too.
It's a couple of years ago now that I got trampled by cows in the countryside. I was just walking along on the footpath with my dog, and they ran over me, and then they ran back over me and knocked me to the ground. So I managed to crawl to safety, otherwise they might have done it again. I might have been killed. I ended up with 6 broken ribs, broken collarbone, and 2 broken vertebrae, and a big lump on my abdomen, a hematoma, which they thought might have pierced my bowel or something, pierced in my liver or I don't know what. So I was helicoptered out of there, and it was painful, but you know, it was all right. But as Martha said, I think it might have been the fact that I was healthy, and I'd been doing the practice. I've been practicing the method for about 10, 12 years also. And so the CO2 level was maybe there. And also whenever I go on a walk, I do some breath holds. So I would have been in a good state to start with. And well, I just remember a few things, like the first night in hospital, when I should have been at death's door. I was up all night chatting to the nurse on duty, things like that. And the very next day, I remember waving my legs around in the air, doing a bit of yoga in bed, because I didn't want to lose my flexibility. But anyway, it was painful. The ribs were very painful. I was in hospital for 2 weeks. The surgeon asked whether I wanted to have surgery or wear a brace to support the spine, and I chose the brace. I didn't want an operation at all, last resort sort of thing. And he did say I might have been in pain had I chosen the operation route. But the fact is that, well, touch wood, but I have no pain whatsoever left, and that was quite soon afterwards. And I was walking around charging out. It was COVID at the time, so I was just walking endlessly around with this brace on, because that was the only thing I could do. There was no gym open. I couldn't even do cycling. Oh, I did borrow a stationary bike from someone over the road. I could do that. And at first, I remember Martha saying, look, you must do some massive breath holds, but I couldn't. I just couldn't bring myself to do it somehow. I just hadn't got the focus or the will to do it. But gradually, as the days went on, I did, of course, because it's just sort of second nature now. And the shallow breathing, and the tape, of course, is absolutely mandatory from day one. And yeah, everyone was surprised, amazed, really. I mean, I always say, well, it's just nature, but the Buteyko must have played a big part in that. Taping every night. I never go to sleep without the tape. And by the way, I haven't been vaccinated, and I've never had COVID, so that's another thing. And also, I never had any, except the first night when I had a nightmare of this cow, you know, looking at me before it charged. But apart from that, I haven't had any psychological damage or emotional issues at all about it. When I saw the surgeon later, he was also very, very thrilled, I can almost say, at how quickly I got better. And I was back to doing yoga and all sorts of things, well, in months. I had to wear the brace for I think it was supposed to work for 2 months, but it was off in a month and a half. I couldn't stand it anymore. And then I was just, doing, even the surgeon told me, yes, well, now you can, you can go back to swimming and everything. And so it was a very wonderful recovery, I would say. And also no arthritis yet, anyway. And I don't think there will be. There's no sign of any. There's about a 0.5% loss of flexibility in my spine. Don't feel anything in the collarbone, nothing in the ribs, nothing in the abdomen. I had to be sewn up. So that's all I was left with, really, which is amazing.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it is. Thanks to Buteyko.
Exactly. Well, one Christmas day, I think it was 2016, I slipped on some water on a marble floor. I flew through the air and knew that I was going to land and break my hip or something awful. Managed to do some sort of ballerina maneuver, landed on my feet, but at the same time ripped my neck. And I didn't realize how serious it was. And I go and have a sauna, and then I go shopping and carry heavy bags. And the next thing I know, I've got a problem. So I find a chiropractor who said, you've slipped a disc in your neck. And I had all sorts of pinched nerves. I had a nerve that was exploding in my head and another nerve that was going all the way down into this finger here that was firing all the time. And I was like that for a while until I could get myself to a chiropractor who could move my neck to get rid of the nerve pain, because as I had the nerve pain, I couldn't get the full repair. I'd been doing pauses, 2-minute maximum pauses. I couldn't lie on my front or side. I had to lie on my back and sit up. That was all I could do, sit up and lie on my back and stand and walk around gently. But every time I moved my head, I had this exploding, fizzy nerve pain. Anyway, I found a chiropractor who sorted all of that out. And then for 4 months, I did 2-minute maximum pauses. And after 6 months, after that period of time, 2 months with the nerve pain, and then 4 months without the nerve pain. And I saw the osteopath again, and he said, well, it's fully mended.
Fantastic.
It took me 6 months.
Yeah, actually, Leona reminded me of something, because I broke my wrist before I knew about the Buteyko Method, and it's still sort of, it's right, it's okay, but it gets cold and I feel it. Whereas with all these major other injuries, I don't feel anything. So that's a good comparison, actually. I didn't realize how much the Buteyko Method would have helped in pain.
It is the most amazing painkiller.
Mm.
Because when I came to this, I was arthritic from top to toe, or had inflammation. And once I got my pause to 60 or towards 80, I could manage the pain in just a few pauses, and it was gone. It is a fantastic tool for pain relief. I've
got a finger that's terribly swollen. It must be arthritis, but I don't feel anything in that either. So yeah, there's definitely arthritis. Well, at 72, you can expect it. But yeah, I don't feel anything in any of the joints.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious the body's going to swell up here and there, and processes are going to get going. And
yeah, but pain is so debilitating, isn't it? It's just, you can't function really normally, can you, when you're in pain?
Well, pain causes you to breathe deeper as well, which makes it even worse. So your nervous system gets more and more rarefied. You become more and more hypersensitive the more you breathe. So if you know about managing breath, it makes all the difference. if you know about managing breath, makes all the difference.